It's time for AggroChat, the official podcast of the Tales of the Aggronaut blog and stalwart gaming community, where we talk about stuff and things, and the stuff about the things, and sometimes gaming. I'm Belghast, and let's start the show.
Hey folks, it's that time again. Time for another episode of AggroChat. This is episode 385. Tonight I'm joined by Ammo.
Hello.
Ashgar.
Hello.
Kodra.
Howdy.
Tam.
Hello.
And Thalen.
Hey there.
So, yeah, this is a live show. You've had 3 recorded shows in a row.
What?
We're
we still
back.
We're back.
As live as they get, anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, they're usually a day, like a day tape delay.
Yes, but the last 2 were significantly longer than that.
Yes. Hopefully you
Yes.
enjoyed them.
And I pieced together what made it sound like real intros and exits on all of them.
Oh my goodness, that's impressive.
What?
More editing than normally happens on our podcast.
Yeah, more editing than
kidding.
normally happens. It was like one really long day of editing and then not editing for 2 weeks.
We're gonna spoil people with this.
I know,
Unsustainable.
shenanigans. It's shocking how good it basically broke into 3 relatively equivalent shows.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they were all about, I don't know, hour 14-ish, hour 15-ish.
It was
Wow.
all planned. We knew what we were doing.
That's a lie. Whenever we say
It
that,
is.
we are lying to you.
We never know what we're doing.
So as a result, we have an overabundance of topics on our list.
We
Oh
really
my
do.
goodness.
It's been
It's been 3 weeks since we
I-
recorded a show.
3
I've
weeks.
been wanting to talk.
there's been a lot of
busy
interesting
3
news.
weeks.
Some things came out, yes.
Yeah. So the first topic we talked about, like briefly reprising or like talking about the topic and then like dragging out later once more people have played it, but basically play Tunic because
Yeah, well-
Tunic is out.
Tunic is really cool.
If you've got Game Pass, you have Tunic.
And if you don't, it's still pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's really cheap. It's like $15, something like that.
I think it's 20,
I think
but
it's
yeah.
30, but yes, it's very
Whatever it was, I bought it.
I bought it on
Um,
Steam, and there was some kind of a day one discount when I bought it.
I was gonna say people on this show that I think would be particularly interested might be Thalen.
It does sound like something I'm interested in. I've seen people talk about needing to take notes while playing it, which has me both intrigued and frightened.
A little bit.
So-
Well, yeah, no. I'm gonna say definitely.
Yeah, there's language that you can't read for a while.
It's been a long time since I had to play a game. I played a game where I needed to take notes on paper, but
But wasn't
sure
that one
did
of
play
the,
a lot of those.
Wasn't that one of the review points in favor of Elden Ring?
It was.
I mean, this is nostalgia because basically,
Yeah.
you're given a Nintendo era, little bitty
Aw.
pamphlet.
Like that feels so amazing, honestly.
I remember flipping through those at school because we couldn't play games at school, but I would bring my manuals to school.
Oh yeah.
But specifically, you are playing a game that is an import game in a language you don't understand.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
That's really-
the
that's
theme,
it.
And
Yeah,
it's
your weird uncle brought you a Japanese import. Have fun.
I always used to love I always used to love instruction manuals and stuff that felt like they were an object in the game.
Mhm.
This is doing the opposite thing where the manual is in the game and is an object from the game in the
Find
game.
pieces of it as you play the game, and it's like an old style manual.
Yes, but do I at any point during the game have to dip the manual in water?
I don't know.
No, that is a very deep cut there, Thalen.
Star Tropics was a really good game, by the way.
I thought you were gonna talk about put on 3D glasses.
I mean, that code wheels, so many entertaining methods of trying to keep us from stealing their games,
Yes.
and we still stole their games.
Sheets of paper with red paper and black writing so you can't photocopy it. Anyway, it is worth playing. Check it out. We will talk about it later.
Yo,
So Liar's Day happened.
It did,
And-
and apparently
and
this year Liar's Day was the day to reveal things that aren't actually lies.
Yes.
Because there's
yes.
a couple of cases of this.
One
And-
of them is
and-
that Games Workshop decided to tease squats on April Fool's Day.
Yeah,
And then on
which was-
April 2nd, they said, hey, not actually a joke. These are what our models look like.
Yeah, I
which
don't.
is nuts.
Yes, like it was easily the most quickly dismissed Liar's
Yes,
Day.
absolutely,
event
yes.
I saw. I was like,
yeah.
yeah, okay, cool. This
Yeah,
was
I saw that video and I was like, that's a really cool looking video. I wish they would actually bring squats back.
yeah, like it was easy to be like, this is the worst kind of April Fool's thing where you tease something that people actually want and then be like, haha, not giving it to you.
Man, okay, so along those lines, Elgato teased a zero latency composite video streaming recorder. And that is a thing that everybody has wanted forever that does any kind of retro anything. And it was, ha ha ha, this is funny.
And all the retro streamers are like, no,
Wait,
I
no, we
actually
want this
that.
thing.
Yes, to other companies, it's not funny. Stop doing it.
Yeah, like no.
But yeah, squats, Space Dwarves, and they're actually like seem like they're taking them seriously.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, they gave them a proper lore name and everything.
yeah, they're not squats anymore. They're the League of
League of
something or other,
Votann,
don't
I
know.
think.
But they're squats.
I mean, they've retconned the name even where they're like, yeah, people called them squats and they don't like it.
Makes me angry.
Also, they use heretical technology because they're useful.
I mean, this is 40K, so my
Heresy
understanding
is probably a useful thing to be doing anyway.
I mean, everyone is being heretical all of the time.
Also fair.
If you're not being heretical, are you really even trying?
But basically these are the descendants of colonists long ago of very high gravity worlds. So over the years, they've become shorter and shorter, and they have been like disconnected from the Imperium for ever and ever.
And
so
they're exceptionally good at mining and exceptionally good at engineering.
yeah, and instead of worshiping the Emperor, they have ancestor worship. Like it's Space Dwarves, and it just makes me happy.
Yes.
Because
yes.
the thing is, Warhammer 40K started as Games Workshop taking all the Warhammer fantasy stuff and just like sticking it
In
in
space.
It's like,
Well, like-
it's elves in space, it's dwarves in space,
Well,
lizardmen in space,
And they
and most
didn't
of those
even
things are still
try.
around.
They didn't even try and disguise it. Like those original Citadel catalogs called them Space Dwarves or Space Elves or Space Orcs.
Yeah, it's only been, within the past couple of decades that they realized that, we can't trademark orc and elf. We need like weird names for them.
The chapter house case.
But like most of these things they kept around. But squats, they decided for like there's so many different explanations. Like there's what they say and there's what people think, but they got rid of squats. I still think it's because squats were too goofy for them while they were trying to make 40K the grimmest, darkest thing ever.
Yeah.
And that seems to be closest to the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and they had a lot of really cool equipment that never really translated to anybody else. I'm talking land trains.
Yes.
Those were amazing.
Like they had air vehicles like before anybody else did.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, and I think that there is some kind of regime shift at Games Workshop
Yeah.
over the last bit where they're like, okay, let's take a look at a bunch of our old stuff and see what we can mine. Because the other thing that they're doing, which I think is bonkers, but here we go, they've had the so-called Horus Heresy game, which is what if old Space Marine versus Space Marine game, what if it was still 1990 and that was the only thing you could play? And like, I don't know, do I care about that? No, but they're making it in plastics. They're gonna make it a main game and not a Forge World side thing.
Yeah. You're gonna make it something that normal people can acquire.
Yeah. I really my theory, my operating theory is that somebody up high in Games Workshop has seen all of the memes and is horrified. Just like,
That
we
people
need
are-
to fix our image,
Yeah.
y'all. we need to do something. And I wonder if the is it Leagues of Votann,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which they make a point of saying deal with the Imperium on equal footing, or at least have in the past. I wonder if they think 40k needs good guys.
Yeah, because so far, like, unless they do something horrific to them that we haven't heard of yet, like, this gives us a faction that isn't just monsters.
Yeah, this is an opportunity to give you a human descendant faction who are not awful.
That have mostly just kept to themselves and protected their own and sometimes help others.
Well, and it's, because a part of 40k has been like these, some of the different factions, like, kind of aping different elements of British society, like, the obvious one being that orcs are yobs, like, obviously they're, and there's been a big gap for just, like, just blue collar guys who just want to have a beer. And here you go, dwarves. That's exactly what dwarves are. They want to mine some rock and have a beer, and if something comes along they need to shoot, sure, but they're not going to, like, make a
They're not
religion
gonna-
out of it.
They're not like excited. They're not necessarily excited about that part of it. Just like, I guess we have to do this.
I mean, and also they're really good at maintaining technology.
Yeah,
That-
it gives you an opportunity to have, like,
Technology
based on, like, old human technology that isn't subject to all the weird mechanicum stuff.
Is it still got to be old tech and not new tech?
Well, no, that's the thing, is that they still innovate their tech.
Yeah, they've actually
Ah.
advanced their tech. Like,
That
this isn't
is
ancient.
some
Yeah,
heresy.
Yeah.
Also, it is rumored they use AI.
That's extra heresy.
yeah.
Yep, that's super heresy. Because 40k totally stole a bunch of stuff from Dune.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
I feel like even in the even outside of this, they've been playing with some of that. Like one of the characters in Blackstone Fortress is very obviously a robot.
Yeah, yeah.
Like officially, like he's listed as an anti-chaos weapon or something. It's just an AI. There's no person in this box. It's just a robot.
Well, and what's weird about that is, like, when Rogue Trader came out, they had robots.
Mhm.
And, like, there were rules where you basically had to, like, plot a course, and you had turn cards, and you would basically program the steps, to move into battle.
It does feel like Rogue Trader is the last time that they were willing to have good people in the setting.
absolutely.
Because, like, the Rogue Traders were the heroes of the setting.
Yeah, and it's like they weren't all good people, but they could be good people.
Yeah, you had that option.
Yeah.
They were the protagonists of this terrible setting.
And that's something that 40k has really been missing, has been, like, decent protagonists. Like,
Well,
at
and
best you have anti-heroes.
the thing is, though, that, like, one of the things that I feel a lot of games have done is, especially like Guild Wars, make sure, and Guild Wars does this to some degree, make sure that every faction has both good elements and bad elements, so your players can pick. Like, you can have the regular Ashura and you can have the Inquest.
So,
Like, you can have sub factions within sub factions.
I mean, you bring up the Asura, but I would argue that that's you can be moderately terrible or just pure evil.
Yeah.
Well, no, you could be awful or selfish. One of the two.
Ashura
Yeah.
might be a bad example.
I'm not sure this game has good examples. The humans are okay, I guess.
Solari are fine.
That's fair.
Norn just want to beat or drink and beat up stuff.
Char are, well, there's an entire season about that.
Yes. Char going through some things, okay?
I mean,
But there's also an entire island full of really cool char.
Yeah, those Char are great. But
I
also-
really, I do feel like there should be an island of really cool Asura who think that Asura society sucks.
I mean, maybe they're still living underground somewhere.
Maybe.
Maybe we'll meet them someday. That'd be cool. But before we leave 40k, I gather the metas undergone some shifts recently.
Well,
That's one way to put it.
The
That's
clowns are back in town.
Harlequins.
So, oh boy. So I've mentioned a few times that 40K has for a long time had this problem where you can play Space Marines or you can be bad. Sometimes, on rare occasions, something that is otherwise bad might have a particular thing that it's good at, like a particular build that just happens to be legit.
Like the
For
year
one
where
time
somebody
ever.
brought 7 flying hive tyrants to Adepticon.
Yeah, right. Where it's like, haha, this isn't good in that it's incredibly unhealthy for the game, but you could win with it. And of course everybody hates it. And because everybody hates it, the game responds to that. They see player feedback and they're like, "Oh, hey, players hate getting wrecked by, I don't know, Tau this edition or whatever." And so in the next edition or shortly thereafter, Tau get nerfed into the ground and they're terrible. And everybody was like, yeah, whatever. Nobody cares because Tau are a nightmare. Because they didn't have, unlike Space Marines, and this is where balance becomes this interesting thing. Unlike Space Marines, which have 10, 15, 20, 30 different viable competitive builds, they would have like one. And so it's like, oh, okay, I'm really tired of fighting against this one specific skew. So then the faction gets nerfed and it's bad. And in the last edition, they started to get really good at fixing that in a way that they've kind of never been before, which is great. Like, hey, these things are actually pretty neat. They're actually surprisingly functional. You can play and have a good time. And the criticism that came up towards the end of 8th edition was that most factions you could play, but there weren't that many interesting builds. They kind of streamlined out all of the interesting variants. So it was like you kind of knew what you were getting into and things didn't feel that varied.
Mm-hmm.
So they made an effort to fix that with 9th edition. 9th edition started with some absolutely painful Space Marine dominant skews where it's just like, oh, if you aren't super tanky and have lots of guns, you lose.
And they gave Space Marines an extra wound so that they were significantly tankier than they had previously been.
Yeah. So it's like this thing that Space Marines all now have 2 wounds. So they're twice as resilient, which means they're actually like pretty tanky, which is about where
Honestly,
they ought to be.
Kind of where they should be.
Yeah, like it's kind of where they should be. And it makes some amount of sense. And then they had issues with all the other factions. And so people kind of awaited what's the new stuff that's going to come out and how is it going to even compete in this world where if you're not big and tanky, you lose. And the answer has been you can be fragile but deadly. And this has proven to be a problem. Hey, Kodra,
Mm-hmm.
what is the most oppressive win rate you can think of any Magic deck in history?
Oh,
I mean, I think probably like low 60s.
Yeah, like 62 to 65 is probably like that's the point.
That's the ban point.
Yeah, that's the point where in Magic something is so bad that you need to start banning things.
I mean, things usually get banned once they start looking at the 57 plus range.
50, yeah.
I want to say Harlequins at Adepticon brought home an 87% win rate.
I think it was 70 something, but that's still ridiculous.
Sorry, 79.4.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my goodness.
It's a problem. There have been multiple factions as new books have come out and balance patches have occurred that have been posting like easily 65 plus, sometimes as high as 70 win rates, which is too much, like way too much.
Mm-hmm.
But Harlequins pulling a nearly 80% win rate is like
clear though. That win rate excludes the mirror match.
Oh, wait, what?
That win rate excludes the mirror match.
That's fine.
That excludes the mirror match, yeah.
That's fine, but
that's nobody could bring anything. that.
Well, but
even
wait a
close.
second. So I was going to ask, were Harlequins popular at Adepticon? That's the other thing like an 80% win rate is fine if only like 1% of your player population is playing them. Because that just means a handful of people were doing really well with them.
Yeah. No, and it's a totally reasonable thing.
But I understand they were very popular too.
They were popular enough. Like,
I mean, Harlequins have always been kind of a popular.
Yeah.
Like back in the day when they were a thing, like they were popular. People loved painting Harlequins.
Yeah, they're a fun looking army.
Still a thing people paint to show off.
Yeah.
Still.
So these are this is an army that people had even when it wasn't the army to win with.
Is it the witch elf problem?
Because so one of the things that was going on before, one of the factions that was just punishingly good before was Adeptus Mechanicus, which were posting also like mid to high 60s win rates, which was a problem. But also it's a really fiddly army, both to play and to build and to paint, and kind of expensive. So like it wasn't turbo. It was oppressive, but it wasn't turbo oppressive because you just didn't have as many people playing them.
Yeah.
And it eventually got bad as people bought and built those armies so that they could win tournaments. But like Harlequins were 6.5% of the meta.
Ooh.
Which is
when there's how many factions?
A large number.
Yeah, like 30 plus.
Yeah, like 40.
Yeah, so the average, if everything was balanced, a faction would post like 2.5%. Participation. Yeah. So they were triple what the expected average is. Now, obviously,
realistically, that's not actually what anybody gets, but
right. But out of band,
they're still popular enough.
Yeah. The other thing causing a huge problem is the Custodes. I don't know how to pronounce that, but they're
Super Guard.
They're super space.
Well, not the Imperial Guard. The other
no,
Super Guard.
I don't know why we needed super Space Marines, but here we are, representing 12% of the field with a 65% win rate.
Yeah, and again, part of that will be people like painting Space Marines, so you expect Space Marines to have a slightly higher than average representation. But
Custodes only have like 3 units or something like that.
Oh my!
Well, Custodes
it's the super gold Space Marines.
I mean, they're basically the Royal Guard.
Yeah, and at the other side, on the other end of the thing, on the other end of like this incredibly tragic space, you've got the Chaos Space Marines, which together, looking at Chaos Space Marines and Death Guard and Thousand Suns, are up there in that's like a little over 12% of the field.
Again, these are really popular armies normally.
Really popular armies normally. People love playing. I mean, if you're gonna have a setting with mostly bad guys, people are like, whatever. I'm gonna play the unabashed bad guys.
Yep.
And again, they have some of the coolest paint jobs you can do.
Yeah. If you like skulls and spikes, boy, are there multiple factions for you.
Do you like Egyptian themes?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Go for Thousand Suns.
Yeah. Do you like creepy plague stuff? Death Guard's up your alley. Are you just a classic skulls and spikes person? We got you.
Do you want to put random boobs on your troops? It's Lanesh.
And yeah, that's posting a 30, maybe the 3 of these average together is like a 34% win rate.
Oof.
Yeah. It's not good. It's bad enough that they're like in-house
their
articles.
PR page.
Yeah, their in-house articles, which are basically a marketing arm, are like, hey, we know there's a problem, we're gonna do something about it. And it's the backflips that they're doing to try to get this under control.
This really isn't that bad, maybe.
Well, just get it under control.
What is the problem with what is Harlequins doing that's such a problem?
They are fast. They are hard to hit. They can control objectives.
This is what cracks me up about this problem is they've had it before in fantasy. The witch elves did this same thing.
They've done this before in fantasy right now. Like,
So there's a space. So the thing is that Harlequins, the theme for Harlequins is that they are fast. They're fast. They're surprisingly deadly, and they're annoying to get damage to stick to. That's kind of like their thing.
Yeah, they're the killer clowns.
The thing that made and that's they had that prior to the most recent book, and they were posting like 42 to 45% win rates. It wasn't oppressive. Like, their stuff hasn't changed that much. In fact, you can take starkly fewer powerful guns per unit than you used to be able to. Like, it used to be you could put ridiculous fusion weapons on every model in your army, and it was like, whatever. A single regular model melts a tank. This is fine. And like, even that wasn't oppressive. No, what they gave them was luck manipulation.
Oh, yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm familiar with luck manipulation and its power.
Yes. And they gave all of Eldar luck manipulation. They just made you can have luck manipulation and have it be relatively balanced.
It's really easy to make it not balanced.
Yes.
Yeah.
The baseline Eldar have very balanced luck manipulation. They're fine. The Harlequins don't. Their stuff is busted. And I forget. I have to look at exactly how it works, but it's like the more rerolls you give yourself, the more rerolls you get, or something. It's something nonsense.
Mm.
So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of situation the squats show up for.
Yeah, right. Like, they're supposed to come later this year. There's a bunch of. I mean, the other army that's been doing very well has been Tyranids, and they just got a new book, and we'll see what that book does. We might have a brand new, brutally unbeatable army in town.
It is so weird that, like, it does seem to be whoever got the most recent book gets to be the king of the hill.
Problem that they have allegedly always had through their lifetime, but avoided most of last edition.
It's like, this is not a new problem.
Well, it used to be worse. It was whoever had the most recent White Dwarf article.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff, like, now the case is, the like White Dwarf stuff is mostly just bad.
I guess my point would be, like, normally wouldn't you want to try and balance everything at the same time, like with a major edition release, or maybe with like a balance revision?
Oh, well, no, that's not how their publishing strategy works.
They're reliant on the physical books, so no.
There's this interesting thing with them where there have been games that like update all of their factions at one time.
Mm-hmm.
40K cannot reasonably do that. They have too many factions.
Yeah, there's just so much.
Like, it's totally unreasonable. And notably, while there have been these oppressive book launches, they only account for like maybe a third of the actual book launches. Other book launches have been mostly fine.
I mean, the Eldar book, except for this, was mostly fine.
Yeah. Sisters of Battle was perfectly fine. Almost every Space Marine book that's launched has been pretty much fine. Necrons were fine.
Except Death Guard did get a book, and it's not very good.
Yeah, I mean, Death Guard got a book, and Death Guard got a book that would have been fine if these other things weren't a disaster.
That's true.
So it's not like they're not releasing perfectly reasonable books here and there. It's just that they're getting eclipsed by these things that just aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And but they do a, like, I think it's twice a year game-wide balance patch.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that's coming up, and that's where they're trying to fix this?
Oh yeah, they've already done a few of these. I mean, honestly, as much credit as I'm willing to give at this point, they have been fairly proactive at not letting anything terrible last for more than a few months, worst case, where they were like, and a lot of things, it's like, oh, this is busted, we're gonna fix it in a patch 2 weeks after the book drops.
Mm-hmm.
but they still don't have digital books.
Yeah.
Which is so dumb.
They did last edition,
I know. It's so dumb.
but yeah, Age of Sigmar also decided that digital books are a thing they didn't need or want.
And they're wrong. Because the thing about having physical books, it's the same problem with magic cards. You can't patch a magic card. Your
Yep.
options, if a magic card is a problem, your options are ban it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't, it's not like, oh, this card would be fine for one more casting cost, or if it needed to tap or whatever.
You can't do
Usually,
that in
they are
Arena.
actually doing that in Arena.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's called alchemy. Most
Yeah.
Magic players hate it.
I'm not
Why?
surprised that most
Yeah.
Magic players hate it because it represents their game getting patched. But
Normally
yeah,
the patches make a new card.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's honestly what usually ends
mean-
up happening is the original card gets banned, and then sometime later, here's
Yeah, you
something
s-
similar.
Right. That's why there's so many semi reprints of cards.
I mean, that's why there's Time Walk and Time Warp.
It's Time Walk, except it costs 3 more.
We didn't realize how powerful this card was when we invented the game.
Yep.
Admittedly, like, there's a lot of cards in the original release that they didn't realize how powerful they were.
And then there's all the creatures.
yeah, there's
Yep.
a bunch of stuff that's just like,
But it
yeah,
still cracks me up that like Dark Ritual and Lightning Bolt are things that they break out as the one special reprint of a expansion. So was Colossal Cave an April Fool's thing, or did
It
it
w-
just coincide along with?
It was actually announced a couple of weeks before April Fools.
Okay.
So as you may have noticed, the past 2 years have been very strange, and apparently this led to more than one old school game developer getting bored and deciding to make a game. And there's a couple of these. The first one being Colossal Cave Adventure 3D, which is by Ken and Roberta Williams, the founders of Sierra Online,
Mm-hmm.
the creators of King's Quest,
Yep.
the inventors of the graphical adventure game, who have been out of the game business for decades now, ever since, Sierra got bought up by, was it Activision? I don't even remember.
Wasn't
People
there
that
like
ran
that
Kingdom
one revival sort of adventure game that got made in the mean? I don't remember what it was.
I don't think there was anything that the Williams were involved with. Some of the other like old Sierra designers have done stuff in the meantime. Like I'm pretty sure Outlaw did some stuff, and the Coles, tried Hero U, some things like that.
Hero U is what I was thinking of.
Yeah, that was Laurie and Corey Cole. I don't think the Williams were involved at all. But this is like apparently like Ken Williams was sitting around his house bored and decided to learn Unity. And then decided to start like, all right, I'm going to start working on something in Unity. And Roberta like suggested the old, Colossal Cave, the old adventure, the original text adventure, which is basically what they pulled apart and rewrote into Mystery House way back in the day. So that's what they're doing. Like they've got a team. They've apparently got, I think, 16 designers on the team at this point, and they're doing a 3D remake of the old text adventure, but in as 3D graphical. It's going to have VR.
I was gonna say, I feel like I might be about to disappoint you because it sounds like it's a VR game.
I mean, VR is not required. They've made this very clear.
Okay,
It will have VR, but it does not require VR. I checked. But yeah, and like
how did we get here?
yeah, how did this happen? Like, and look, Sierra was one of the most important video game companies of my childhood. Okay, it was Sierra and Infocom. I discovered LucasArts games later. Sierra and Infocom. I played every single Quest game, like everything. For a while on Prodigy, I had my own little like message thread, whatever, I can't remember what they were called, where I would answer people's questions about Sierra adventure games and give them hints. Like that's how into these I was.
What company made the Incredible Machine?
Yeah,
Also Sierra.
and
Okay.
they made Dr. Apparently, the first thing that Ken Williams considered making was a new Dr. Brain game, and then Roberta
That's
was
about
like,
where I entered the scene.
And the reviewers like, I don't know how well that ends up working, and so they switched over to adventure. But yeah, so I'm I'm actually pretty excited about this. Like I don't know if it's going to be good. It may be terrible. Like
It probably won't be terrible.
at this point, I'm certain something is going to actually come out because they've actually released like a demo that's like the first little bit of the game. Apparently, I still need to check it out. I figure it'll probably at least be decent. I mean, Roberta Williams has written a lot of games.
It's got a release date in fall.
Yeah, like at worst, it should be a really cool like 3D representation of the Mammoth Cave system. So okay, sure. Like, and neither of them needs to be doing this. Like, they're fine. They're not doing this because like they suddenly need money or anything, and that's part of what makes me feel pretty good about it. It's like they're doing this because they just decided they wanted to make a game again, and I don't know. But yeah, so we're getting a new adventure from the Williams, and then also announced on April 1st, we're getting a new Monkey Island game by Ron Gilbert and Dave Grossman, the creators
That's the one that shocked me.
of Monkey Island. Ron Gilbert has famously said that he would never make another Monkey Island game unless he owned the IP. I guess Disney offered him enough money. I don't know.
I was gonna say, what is it? Disney?
It's Lucasfilm. Lucasfilm.
LucasArts had the
That's
IP.
a LucasArts game, so yeah, Disney owns it.
I was gonna say, I know at the end of the trailer it says Ron Gilbert said he'd never make another Monkey Island game unless, and then it kicks the character into the ocean.
Yeah, the finish of that is he owned the IP. But yeah, so the trailer shows it's Lucasfilm, Devolver, Ron Gilbert, and Dave Grossman. Presumably Devolver is publishing. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, Disney does not have a lot of interest in publishing video games at the moment.
Yeah, Disney owns the IP. That's why they're there. But yeah, and they've been working on this in secret for the past 2 years. It's coming out this year. And Ron has said that they are not excising Monkey Island 3. That is still in continuity. Murray's in the new game, apparently quite a bit. So yeah, I'm also really excited about this.
I don't think I've played Monkey Island 3.
Monkey Island, I really enjoyed Monkey Island 3. But it did famously just completely drop the sort of cliffhanger ending of Monkey Island 2 and go off and do its own thing. So Monkey Island 2, the whole thing there is searching for the treasure of Big Whoop. And you find Big Whoop, and it turns out Big Whoop is an amusement park. And like LeChuck is chasing you around this amusement park, and like you get younger and younger, and the two of you become little kids, and it turns out like Guybrush and LeChuck are two brothers who were brought to the amusement park by their parents, and they've just been playing pirates this whole time. And now it's time to go home. But then before little child LeChuck leaves the screen, he's the last one, like his eyes glow. So, and then that's the end of the game. And then Monkey Island 3 picks up with Guybrush floating in the middle of the ocean in a bumper car. And he's just like, I barely escaped Big Whoop. And that's basically it. And then they move on. But it sounds like Gilbert is going to go back and deal with some of that. Don't know. But yeah, this one I'm really, really excited about because it's Monkey Island, and Monkey Island is amazing. And Ron Gilbert has actually been making games in the interim. Like he's made adventure games recently, and they have been well received. So I'm sure this will be a decent game.
I am very curious about this. We haven't really talked about it, but like I finished up Psychonauts 2, and boy, do I like that is a game that is story first.
Yes.
And it's been a long time since I felt like I played a game that was so very much focused on telling a story and like connecting the story they started. Like I would be curious to know how much of that was planned, because like I played Psychonauts 1, then Rhombus of Ruin, then Psychonauts 2, and like boy, like that was a really cohesive story. And I have to imagine that would be frustrating for like Ron Gilbert, who probably had this interesting story in mind after Monkey Island 2 that he didn't really get to tell.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm curious how much of what he was originally planning for Monkey Island 3, was salvageable without just throwing everything post 2 out the window. Now they just need to finally make the second and third Loom games, and
I do not have hope for that, Thalen. I'm sorry.
I know, me either.
Isn't there an elaborate Loom joke in Broken Age?
Yes.
Yes.
I did not get that the first time I played it, and then knew more the second time I played it.
That's kind of been an ongoing thing in LucasArts related games ever since. I'm pretty sure the original Monkey Island had the pirate with the "Ask Me About Loom" pin.
Yeah, ask me about
Oh.
Loom. I remember that.
Well,
Loom? You mean the award-winning?
Yeah. Yeah, no, if you've never played Loom, do yourself a favor and find a copy of Loom and play it. It's not a very long game, but it's a very beautiful game with wonderful music.
I'm sure someone has built a config file for DOSBox.
Oh, certainly. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can get it on GOG.
So, did Kirby come out since we last recorded a podcast?
I believe it came out like the day before we recorded a podcast.
Okay.
yep, something like that.
Since we recorded a podcast not about Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I believe that's accurate. Yeah, Kirby and the Forgotten Land. Let's do post-apoc Kirby.
This game is amazing.
I was
It's
watching the
so
trailer and I was like,
good.
this is just like, he's just in a city, an overgrown city. Oh no.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that's the first world, but yeah,
I mean, and then an abandoned theme park.
that's the third world.
I guess.
But yes, it is. It's a thing.
Yeah. This game is very good. And like I feel like I might not have played a lot of Kirby's, but there's a couple of interesting things. Like if you play Smash Brothers, that might not give you the accurate impression of what Kirby is like. Because like Kirby can't just fly everywhere, which is something I didn't realize.
I mean, you kind of can depends.
You have a max height.
That's in this game only.
Oh, is that new to this game?
Yes.
Okay, that's a smart decision because it means that now, like, you have to.
You still have to actually do platforming. Yes.
You still have to do platforming.
But other Kirby games, usually you have to do something resembling platforming. Not because you can't float up indefinitely, but because you can't float forever.
You also can't float forever here.
Yes.
You have your fun array of different powers, whether you want to use a sword or throw bombs or, whatever.
Pour one out for Beam, missing for the first time in the series history.
Oh wow.
I'm here to I'm here because I do like setting things on fire, especially purple fire, because it turns out if you set something on purple fire, it will never go out. I mean, it will, but it sure feels like it'll never go out.
I mean, usually it goes out when the thing dies.
It's true. This game has introduced the ability to level up your powers and find new versions of them. So, like, you get the basic I can breathe fire, and then you get the ability to breathe lava, and then you get to the ability to be a dragon. I recommend, like most things, being a dragon. The game's bosses are really really fun. We've kind of been joking about this, but like this game has a dodge roll, it has a block, and it has you hunting for souls. This feels like kids' first Souls game, and like being able to dodge roll out of things is very important. While I do need to stress, this is still a game that my son could beat on his own.
That's good to know because my son definitely wants me to get him this game.
Like
a lot of Kirby games put most of their difficulty into the boss fights. Even then, they put the hard difficulty into the hard version of the boss rush. So, like, until you are doing these things, usually they're not that hard.
Asterisk, asterisk, the last boss.
Final bosses tend to be annoying, yes.
I mean, I joked, and apparently I have been told I'm wrong, but this felt like the most anime game I've played in a while. Like,
It's not even the most anime Kirby game.
Notably, it does open up with an extended Japanese theme song,
That's true.
which was like, it felt very opening to an anime, and by the end of it I was fighting an angel that was claiming to be God.
And that's just normal Kirby stuff.
I mean, I will point out that I solved my problem in the way of an isekai. The character is transported to a magical land with the aid of a truck. Anyways, this game's really good and very cute. Like,
Kirby games are always so charming.
Yeah.
I enjoy all of the Waddle Dees. Also, Spear Waddle Dee is very fun.
Yeah, it's the Player 2 character, except way more useful and interesting than Tails ever was.
Take that, Tails.
You also get with Spear Waddle Dee, I did not realize this until I played a little bit more. They power up as you power up your abilities.
Oh, that's nice. I didn't know that.
So Spear Waddle Dee is always like on par with whatever level of power Kirby's operating on. But yeah, me and my son have been playing a lot of this game. The collectible hunting is also very fun, and the way they do it is very clever. In which, like, you're going to get 3 collectibles, which are the Waddle Dees. You're rebuilding the town of Waddle Dee, and you get 3 of them for beating the level. There are like 5 hidden throughout the level, and then there's like 3 secret objectives that you get a Waddle Dee for completing. Like, I don't know, maybe you need to bust up a bunch of snowmen, or you need to eat a bunch of, like, all of the donuts. Eat 4 donuts, get a Waddle Dee. Great, I love it. Maybe you need to go and take a nap by a pool. There's a bunch of options. Maybe you need to defeat an enemy with a specific thing. Most of the hardest Waddle Dees are the boss fight Waddle Dees. And because every
They
single
include
one...
things like defeat this boss hitless.
Yeah, every single boss set has one that is defeat this boss hitless. And I jumped with joy when I got that on Chloraline.
Yes. I still haven't gotten it on the boss after Chloraline.
Yeah, that's because Silly Dillo is awful and makes me feel terrible every time I say his stupid Silly Dillo name. My son is incredibly smart and figured out that if you dig under the ground, you avoid most of the attacks.
This game's version of Leaf, or Ranger, or Mirror, or depending on what Kirby game you play, there's usually one that lets you do this. Superstar had Mirror, which gave you an invulnerable block that reflected projectiles. The one I remember most was the one I needed most in Triple Deluxe. Had Leaf, which gave you, while you were blocking, you were intangible entirely.
I mean, there's a couple of other powers I really like, though. Like, I'm a big fan of the, I was going to say the spike, where you become a
Needle.
spike ball. Needle, yeah. But
The first time Needle has ever been useful.
Oh, Needle is so useful in this game. I'm kind of sad that it's never been useful before. But you get a really good dodge roll in Needle form. Like, your jump dash it's pretty fast. It dodges you out of the way, and if you successfully dodge, you're probably hitting your enemy with a needle. This game also features a whole bunch of optional, like, treasure roads is what they're called, where you go and you try and get the upgrade stones. And to do this, you have to do like a specific set of obstacles with a specific item set, a specific copy power. So, like, this is also kind of their way that they tutorialize all of the different ways a power can be used, because powers can be used in a whole bunch of interesting ways. Like, one of the things about Needle is that you gather things up, and then if you stop rolling, the momentum carries all of the things you gathered up, Katamari Damacy style. And, like, you become a Katamari as you're needling around all the enemies, and then you hurl them at whatever you stop in front of. This is a good way to do a lot of damage with Needle. Like, you have to go bowling with your bombs. It's very fun. And they give you times that are a challenge. Like, to get
the target times are exceedingly difficult, although you don't need to get the target times to
Yeah.
actually get the rare stones.
You don't need the target times to get the upgrade items, but if you want to say I hit the target time, yeah, that's going to be a hard time to hit. There have been a couple where I was like, I don't think this is physically possible, and then I have Ash like explain a mechanic I didn't understand.
Look, they're hard. A lot of them are really hard.
Yeah, but like there's one where you light a fuse and the fuse takes longer than the target time.
It's true, it does. They tell you I think Waddle Dee tells you that you can speed up fuses.
I missed Smart Waddle Dee.
No, the ability Waddle Dee. He will give you tips on your current ability if you talk to him.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, I didn't know that. But yeah, there's also the hilariously named Mouthful Mode,
Boy,
Which is
that
all the
name.
internet knows about.
Mm-hmm.
in which you suck up a random item and it changes your power.
It's where you eat a car to be a car.
You eat a car to be a car. You eat a vending machine to be a vending machine.
Because normally Kirby only, gets powers from enemies. So I guess when you eat something not an enemy, you become like this.
But also
know.
you deform Kirby style around it. It's weird.
It is truly odd. It is pretty amusing. And it is extremely well used in the game.
It's very well used, yeah.
I mean, it's essentially the equivalent of throwing Cappy on a thing and becoming that thing in Mario Odyssey, right?
Sure.
It's the right general idea.
Yeah, at least that's how I read it when I first saw it. It's like, oh, it's like that Mario Odyssey thing.
Anyway, the game's great. It is fairly easy to beat. It is not easy to 100%. It's a Kirby game. That's how these things usually work.
I really had a lot of fun with it, and yeah, it's a great game to introduce kids to, and then like you can help them out, but like let them play as Kirby because Kirby is definitely going to be stronger than you. It's really cool. Highly recommend.
So another thing that happened since the last show is it's Super Adventure Box time in Guild Wars 2
Super Adventure Box.
until I think the 20th.
19th, I think. 19th or 20th.
Okay.
Basically up until the next like big patch.
Right, which lands on the 19th.
Yeah. But yeah, pixelated platforming goodness, if you care for that sort of thing.
It is a weird time.
It's a very weird time. I enjoy Super Adventure Box way too much. Like I have to force myself not to burn myself out on it.
I gotta say, like, I share all the key nostalgias of Super Adventure Box, but it is like fundamentally not my jam. I remember doing something else once upon a time in my many years of attempting to play Guild Wars 2 that was like some kind of a jumping puzzle that was Super Adventure Box, or at least a Super Adventure Box themed jumping puzzle. I don't know what year that was.
I don't
It
know.
might have been the first year.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I definitely was not around for the first year.
It's cute. It's fine. I need to buckle down and beat it, or at least collect the rest of the power-ups so I'll have them come next year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's part of it. Is you start out when you start out in Super Adventure Box, you have a stick.
You are very weak.
You can hit enemies with your stick, and you have I think 2 hearts,
You have 3 hearts.
3 hearts. Yeah, I guess because
It's not
you can
enough.
Get 5.
But
The bee dogs are horrible.
yes,
Put
BB
bombs
Dog
at
is
them.
terrible.
Once you have bombs. But yeah, and so you collect baubles, and they go into your wallet, and you can spend those baubles at various shopkeepers for various upgrades. And there's some that you can just find. Things like, you have to increase the size of your wallet to be able to carry more baubles because Zelda, and you can buy bombs and potions, and you can upgrade your stick into a chain stick, just 2 sticks connected by a chain. Various things like that. There's a flute that you can get to play certain songs in certain places of the world to have effects. Like there's lots of Zelda references in this. That's probably what it honestly pulls the most from.
I mean, like everything else in Guild Wars 2, it is deeply intricate.
Mm-hmm. And so there's so far there's 2 worlds out of a theoretical 4 in the long term.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll get World 3. It could still happen. Apparently, Moto has a new conversation option this year where you can actually ask him how World 3 is going, and he'll tell you that these things take time, but he's working on it.
It's been a hard time for Moto.
Yeah, but so there's 2 worlds. Each world has 3 zones. The first 2 end with like breaking a peasant out of a cage, and the third one has an actual boss. First world, it's a big frog, King Toad, and then the second one, it's the Storm Wizard.
That frog was kind of cool. The Storm Wizard bugged on me, and I hated it.
That was a problem. Like right after Super Adventure Box dropped this year, there was like if you played through the entirety of World 2, then there was a bug that could happen with the Storm Wizard that made him very, very difficult to fight. They have corrected that, but so there's normal mode where you're platforming through and having to fight or dodge enemies and make your way to these bosses. But then there's also Tribulation mode, and Tribulation mode is evil. Like
I'm just gonna say right now, there is also infantile mode.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's also infantile. If you've never played through it and have no clue what the path is.
Yeah.
That.
Infantile mode removes most of the platforming by giving you clouds that poop out rainbow paths, and you can just follow the rainbow paths. And you can still earn some rewards doing this. Most of the achievements are doable in
infantile
mode.
You can get most of the achievements this way. Many require you to play through in normal or better.
Yeah. But it's a good option for.
But this lets you see what you're even going on here.
Yeah.
And earn some hearts before you try to do it in normal mode.
Yeah, because your heart containers, you get more heart containers by beating the main bosses. So you can earn 2 more for a grand total of 5 currently, and you'll want those because each time you die, you have some lives. But if you lose all your lives, then you end up in hell, tied up with dynamite in front of Moto, and you have to give him a continue coin.
It is very reminiscent of some old arcade games.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Bad Dudes that ended up that way?
I think so, yeah. I have an infinite continue coin, so I don't care.
Apparently, the infinite continue coin was only sold in the Black Lion store like once.
I mean, maybe separately. I think it's part of a Super Adventure pack is how I got it. Because I also got like the B-Dog mail carrier and something else. But it's just a permanent continue coin that every time you use it, you get 99 lives.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. It's there is no way I would have completed Tribulation mode without this thing. Like
there's some dumb things on the store that are so worth it. Like earlier
this only helps you for 2 weeks out of every year.
Still worth it.
Specific event.
Well, like, okay, I just mean like earlier, like there were 5 of us running around Mistlock. Like
yes.
Mistlock is the best thing ever.
Yeah. There is a new.
There's a new one this year.
Which is as
good. Yeah. It's the pavilion.
Yeah.
It's got fishing.
Fishing teleports even.
Like that's what it's got instead of teleport to the Fractals of the Mists. Is it's got like its own fishing nodes and then also teleports to fishing, which that's pretty good.
And it's maybe more convenient than Mistlock because it's like a little bit more condensed.
Like I haven't gotten it yet because I have Mistlock, but I'm kind of tempted.
The problem is it would just take up one more slot in my shared inventory.
I mean, I already don't have a little Elon in there, so whatever. I shuffle some slots around as things come up.
Yeah.
I mean, I freed up a slot tonight. I spent my final 80 boost and made my Mesmer 80.
Yeah, I finally
used Mesmer?
Yeah.
Hell, what?
Wait, is this really Bell?
Sword Mesmer is fun.
I mean, I don't disagree.
I don't think you're wrong, but I'm still astounded.
Okay, look. Some things have happened in the world. like I don't know what happened to me, but so initially the problem I had with Guild Wars 2 was that Warrior didn't feel like I expected Warrior to feel. But in the meantime, I leveled a Necro start to finish and enjoyed the hell out of it. And have since figured out more what to expect about classes in Guild Wars 2, and now play Warrior just fine.
It's an incredibly alt-friendly game.
It really is.
That's definitely true.
Well, and I've had to spend time on my Warrior because my Warrior is my max level weapon crafter. I mean, it's the only crafter I've gotten to 500.
It sounds like it lives in a place with a bunch of crafting places.
It does. But I did run around and I made it a fresh set of gear, and been doing dual axes, and either doing dual axe greatsword or dual axe rifle.
Yeah, spinning around with axes is pretty entertaining.
Like, it doesn't feel as squishy as it once did, but I think I'm just better at dodging things than I used to be.
Yeah, that's probably a lot of it.
That is certainly a component.
I probably don't dodge as well as I should, but I also have the heal button that is effectively a full heal if I do damage.
I've become very adept at dodging because I play squishy classes.
Harbinger has spoiled me by playing a mostly ranged class, but so the other piece of I want to say this came out around Liar's Day as well.
A little bit after, I think.
Yeah,
definitely not on.
Right, but like around the same time is we got this amazing set of patch notes for Guild Wars 2, and one of the things included with it wasn't patch notes. It's like a roadmap blog post. And one of them is that on April 19th, we are getting the first piece of Living World 1, aka the giant freaking hole in the story.
Yeah, the missing story is finally coming back.
We're going to find out who Scarlet is.
Yeah.
The funny thing about this is the day before that released, I had written a blog post talking about how big of a problem not having Living World 1 was.
We're also going to finally get to meet all of the characters we actually like.
Yeah, because season 1, that's when we met everybody, all the Dragon's Watch people.
Yeah, like because the initial story had a bunch of characters that nobody liked.
Well, I mean, season 1 was a handing of the reins between Destiny's Edge and Dragon's Watch, so that's a huge problem that it was gone.
Yeah, because right now in the game, you finish your personal story, and then if you jump into season 2,
you are just lost.
Here's all these new people talking about stuff with somebody named Scarlet and ley lines, and apparently there's something called Mordremoth that woke up, and what?
There's a cutscene you can watch that attempts to explain some of this very badly.
Yeah, it's like I've watched it again since finally, relatively recently, now that I know about all this stuff, and it's still I guess it hits the high points, but
it was so jarring when I remember playing through and beating Zaitan and then immediately starting Living World 2 because I was late to the game, so I had all of it patched up.
Mm-hmm.
And being completely confused who the hell any of these people were.
Same.
I'm like, did I misremember the name of the Ashuran?
Nope.
like I thought it was Zojja, but has it always been Taimi?
But this is someone named Taimi, and she's much smaller than I remember too.
Yes. I have miniatures that are larger.
Season 2 right now, Taimi is tiny.
Yeah, season 1 and season 2 Taimi is just itty bitty. I mean, she's canonically, I think 13 in season 1, which means she's 21 now because time has actually passed in real time, and every so often I remember that, and it's really weird. There was something in End of Dragons I was like, that seems really sudden. And I was like, oh, no, actually,
the start of End of Dragons is, some years from the end of Icebird Saga.
Yeah. It's been 2 years since Icebird Saga ended.
Yeah, all of the characters have been growing and maturing, and also there's Bram.
Yes.
But Bram admits he's an idiot. So I posted that to Instagram today. I'm like, truer words have never been said. It was a picture of him saying he was an idiot.
He's finally comfortable with his role, I think. So that's a type of growth.
He is a big dumb meathead, but as soon as he leans into being a big dumb meathead, he's so much more likable.
Yeah, he becomes a really lovable big dumb meathead, which is really impressive because he spent I don't know how long being real jerk.
Yeah, a long time being an idiot and being wrong about everything and being angry at you about it.
All of season 3, all of Path of Fire, most of season 4.
Yeah. How dare you tell me to kill this thing? I want to kill that thing. What do you mean I can't kill that thing? But I want to.
I want to kill it. I should be able to kill the thing.
Yeah. But yeah,
look how good I can chip this tooth.
Why is everyone not nearly as sad about this character whom I love but nobody else did?
I mean, and the thing is, he hated her. that was a big part of his like early character, and like then he met her and like decided that he was going to have a different set of mommy issues. But yeah, so we're getting season 1. Apparently it's going to be broken up into 5 parts, and we have dates for the first 2 parts, and they're like a month apart. So
Yeah.
like I don't know if we're maintaining that, and so like
Well, I think
over
the blog said over the course of this year.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
I mean,
So
which would be
that's-
reasonable. That would be reasonable.
Yeah, like over the course of the next, 8
Maybe.
months. Yeah. But so we're actually going to get to like experience this stuff, like these alliances and presumably Scarlet like her attack on the queen, and we know that the big attack on Lion's Arch is going to apparently be a big like story instance and a strike, that's cool. Which
I mean, having played through Dragonstorm, I really like the meta as big instance event thing.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea. And Dragonstorm is getting a lot of I don't know if people have been doing Dragonstorm this much. I don't think they were, but there's definitely people doing it like reliably now. I think in part because
it's
a place
real
to get Memories
rewarding.
of Arene.
I was going to say Memories of Arene are probably one of the reasons why people are doing it.
Yeah, you get
Yeah.
6 out of there.
I did it a number of times for that reason.
But it's it's a good fight. I enjoy it. I can actually work on those achievements. Yeah, and so the first chapter is Fire and Frost, which I believe that's like the section basically involving Bram and rocks.
Yay! I'm finally going to learn a little bit about rocks. I feel
Yeah.
like I don't know enough about rocks.
Yeah, rocks.
It's funny though. You've already seen part of this storyline.
But so the weird thing about rocks is like rocks is this archetypal reliable Gal Friday that follows around an idiot.
Yeah,
like
rocks
it is the Nashua to Hildebrand.
Rocks,
except for she's crazy too.
No. Yeah, because no, Rox is absolutely the most reliable member of Dragon's Watch, bar none.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
Like,
that also means she's kind of boring.
She doesn't stand out as much.
No,
like I think she's great, but yeah, she doesn't get to stand out the way some of the other characters do.
She's also definitely got her own issues, but that doesn't come up very much.
I mean,
mostly because she follows around Bram.
Yeah, well, and like I think I get the impression like the biggest of her issues was mostly like during season 1 and predominantly dealt with during that.
It kind of comes up again in season 4 because she's still like HR without a warband.
Yeah, she's still a legatus, and that's not a good thing.
But remember me saying this thing about an island full of really cool char.
Yes, that.
The best char.
Yeah.
Yeah, the unironically not probably the villains of the entire Guild Wars story. Oh, whoops.
Yeah. It's like, oh, look, here's some char that decided that whole, like, just all of that was just, no, let's not.
Damn, that argument also goes for, like, most of the White Mantle.
Yeah, the White Mantles suck too.
I mean, they're pretty awful.
This story has a lot of villains. Let me just say that.
It's like the White Mantle suck, but the White Mantle aren't also the entirety of humankind.
That's fair. The Legions kind of are the entirety of Charkind.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not the best.
Not awesome.
Yeah, like Char Society has some serious problems. And like one of the things that I appreciated about season 4 and Icebrood Saga was that this actually got addressed.
I mean, as we kind of mentioned, I think Asura Society still kind of messed up.
I mean,
yeah.
Like,
and
yeah.
And like historically always been based on everything we've seen.
Yeah.
Like we've gone to prehistoric char cities. They were messed up too. Not char, Azuran.
Yeah, that actually reminded me. I did see the start of Eye of the North recently in Guild Wars 1. Asura have always been messed up. Just say it.
Yeah.
Were Asura playable characters in
No.
Guild Wars? Okay.
No.
Guild Wars 1 was just humans.
But you meet some, and you can get one as a party member because there's this whole destroyer problem. It's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what they were like before they had to go underground.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff in Draconis Mons is references back to all of that, because the the Asuran that was like leading that expedition that got into a big fight with the druids because Asurans are jerks and tried to do
Yes.
experiments on sentient beings.
Because Asura are terrible. Like, I feel like Asura probably need to have a Omicon for themselves.
They do. I mean,
They
like
really do.
like Timey is the best Asuran we know.
Yeah.
And when we first met her, she was like, Scarlet's so awesome.
I mean, like, okay, Timey is the best Asuran, but also horribly misguided at times.
Yeah. And then number 2 is Goric. And,
Extremely, excessively misguided.
Wow.
And Goric's great. I like Goric. I like Goric a lot.
I mean,
Goric
I
has
just
made some bad choices in his past.
Goric has an arc.
Yes.
I feel like even though there is a character arc, maybe he didn't learn all the right lessons.
Well, the arc continues.
The arc
His arc is not done.
Dragons,
You're not done.
Good.
Okay.
Yeah, you haven't seen where Goric is.
Yeah,
his arc has taken him at this point.
So for reference, I think towards the end of the 5th chapter of season 4.
Oh, I am starting this 4th chapter of season 4.
Okay. So like I've got one chapter left after I think I'm wrapping this one up, and I don't know how long chapter 6 is. Sometimes they're really short and just are mostly a crescendo into a boss battle. Other times they're really long. So I don't know.
Chapter 6, it's longer than, say, your time in the last zone of Heart of Thorns.
Okay.
Like
When
there's actual
people
story
get
in
to
that.
Visions of the Past, Steel and Fire, let other people know.
Yes.
Do not solo this.
Do not solo this. I hated my life, but it would be
Yes.
so fun in a group.
Yeah, it is soloable.
It is.
It is
but
much
don't.
better with a group.
It sucks to solo.
It sucks.
Even though it is doable. It takes forever and it is kind of painful.
I started it at like, I don't know, 11:15, thinking that would be fine.
I no longer make the mistake of entering instances late-ish at night, having done Be Our Guest at around that time.
Oh God, Be Our Guest was real long.
Uh-huh.
Like I was not expecting it to be as long as it was by any means, but yeah, I mean, so here's the problem that I have, and we had some discussions, and there were some wagers placed on whether it would be Ash or me or Kodra that gets caught up to End of Dragons first. Because we're all kind of in the same band right now, but we arrived there at different times.
I shouldn't be, but I'm easily distracted.
That's
Or
my
rather,
problem too.
I'm going back for things, which is my actual problem.
That's my problem is like it takes me a really long time to get through a zone because zones are really intricate puzzles to unravel as you go through them. And also I like doing events. So like it's the same problem I have in Final Fantasy 14. Like I get distracted by fates.
Yeah.
I've been running to Coddle every day just for fun. And also ascended
Also,
weapons.
You got an ascended weapon out of it, which I have
I
never
did.
done.
I did. Like that's why
Your luck, Bell. What?
That's why
Seriously.
I started doing it, because I'm like, there's the off chance that like there are several ascended weapon boxes that drop off to Coddle, so might as well try it. And I got one. It was a horrible stat combination, but I fixed that.
That's easy to fix.
I put it in the toilet and it came out better.
The only reason I might be able to do it is because my engineer now has a build that feels even partially good in the open world.
I feel like you and Ash are way better at mainlining content than I am.
I need to stress that I have been playing this week and feeling like I am like cheating or am just overpowered or something. Like I'm going to take.
Are you a Golemancer?
I am a mechanist, and like I am used to just having to scrape every single amount of effort to beat like 2 veterans. Like that's a fight that's probably gonna kill my old builds just dead. But now the golem tanks everything, and I just am in full DPS gear, and everything dies, and it's amazing.
I mean, I feel like you would also like Necromancer.
Necromancer.
I mean, possibly, but like...
Because Necromancer, I have an I win button, which is called Shroud. And if I'm playing Reaper or if I'm playing Harbinger, that basically just melts veterans and elites.
Press the button,
and
the veteran is dead.
Champions.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm curious. I feel like maybe I am so used to terrible engineer specs and the terrible things they make engineers do that finally having a competent build feels like cheating.
Mechanist?
I think that might be where you are.
Mechanist is the first time I have legitimately enjoyed playing an engineer without going out of my way to make it more palatable for myself at the expense of performance.
Yeah, I want to play
like
Mechanist.
My Holosmith build, which is not going out of its way to do anything.
I like Holosmith build just fine, but I'm aware that it would be better if I used kits, and I won't.
My build would not actually be better if I used kits.
No, I mean, like, you could make a Holosmith build that would be more effective.
Could you, though? I guess that's the thing. Like,
I'm pretty sure they do.
Could I play it better? Probably not.
Oh, no. Could I play it better? No, that's why I don't want to.
I think the thing that I really like about Necromancer right now is in both Reaper and Harbinger, I am playing a somewhat degenerate PvE only spec just because it makes everything easier. But like I could very quickly, with a few button presses, turn it into a meta build and be perfectly fine. Like I'm not far off from meta. I just like pets better than they do. And the same's true. Like I feel like if I wanted to play a support, I've got Scourge completely unlocked now. Never played it, but there's a support that's reasonable.
I really like Scourge, and I've used it as our fractal healer a few times.
Yep,
it's a better healer than Guardian.
One day I will learn how to Catalyst, but today is not that day. Tomorrow is not. I should
really unlock that because it seems like the elemental spec I've been waiting for.
I think you will really like Catalyst, and you'll actually do things like read its abilities and probably be good.
I already read its abilities.
Spin, and then things die around me. It's fine.
They did significantly nerf the damage caused by the things that spin around you.
That's not why. I mean, yes, but those give you huge buffs.
They sure do.
Yep.
I put the spinny, and also, like, I really need to emphasize how many Catalyst abilities involve you spinning in a circle. It's not just
also
those.
Fair. Also fair. Yeah, I'll give you that.
And I press those buttons. If I'm spinning in a circle, it's probably good.
I mean, that's why I like dual axes. I can spin to win.
Yep. I still think I like Weaver better, but Catalyst is fun. All of my Mesmer specs are my babies.
I've got to say, like, I've been pretty impressed with how seemingly balanced a lot of things appear to be right now. Because, like, I join a lot of squads because I run a lot of world events.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a wide variety of the icons. It's not always the same icons over and over. I mean, it seems like there's a lot of people that are enjoying different things right now.
Yeah, I mean, definitely in like open world and just regular content, like you can do basically anything.
I never liked Warrior until Bladesworn.
I'm trying to unlock Bladesworn because I think it would be fun.
Oh, Bladesworn is so good. It's got the fun button. Did you like Samurai at FF14?
I love Samurai in FF14.
Do you like 5-digit numbers?
I've watched people do it, and it looks so great.
It's really great.
I need to practice Bladesworn some more.
I mean, like, I would love Harbinger, like, and it would be the only thing I ever play if I could have Greatsword as my second weapon. But that doesn't work because I need 2 different elite specs to make that happen. Yeah. I love the concept of pistol and Greatsword, and Bladesworn is kind of that.
Have I got a class for you, Bell? You can have pistol and Greatsword on the same build.
Which
you're not gonna like the answer.
Is it Mesmer?
Yeah, totally Mesmer.
Yeah, but the problem is like, okay, so Greatsword on Mesmer is hilarious. But like, it's hilarious. It's not a great sword.
It's a casting focus.
It is
like
it is a
greatsword.
really large wand
I don't know.
that
you
is
actually
shiny and
swing it
sharp
toward
on the
people for
sides.
some of the abilities.
I love the thing where I can throw down the clone sword that spins around, but I mean I can't say anything. I'm playing great sword and sword on my Mesmer, so
I mean, Mesmer
I'm currently
sword.
playing greatsword and dagger focus on my Mesmer.
I'm currently playing Dagger Focus and Scepter Torch on my Mesmer, and I probably will switch the Scepter Torch to Greatsword. But I have been playing Mesmer Sword for 9 years, so having something new is nice because Mesmer Sword is just great.
I
It's
really like Mesmer
very
sword, and I like Mesmer sword pistol. I like great sword.
You should try Mesmer Sword Focus. I know that you're
Okay.
like, Focus, what's that about? What if that awesome button that
I
you
mean-
press had all of your enemies in front of it?
That's changing. I am willfully using a dagger. I hate
Definitely a
daggers.
change.
Daggers are not real weapons. Like that's not a thing. Like, and really, it might as well not be a weapon because I'm mostly just firing a pistol all the time. But like, the two things I do with my dagger are kind of important.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I'm playing the same Necro build. I know what
Yeah.
you mean.
It's real important and it's real good. I've tried the other things you can alt with the pistol, and dagger is the clear winner.
You cut yourself?
That's what it looks like.
I mean, that's what you do. You put a bleed on yourself.
You hurt yourself and then make enemies realize that no, it's them that hurt.
Yeah.
And I finally found a significantly wicked looking dagger that a necro would use. But yeah, like I don't know. Some stuff has changed in my brain since playing this game. I am bending lines that I never crossed. I've played an elementalist.
I'm waiting for the day when Kodra rolls up Thief, realizes all of the absolute nonsense you can theoretically
Thief
do with
is
that, and comes up
hilarious
with
and
something
fun.
busted.
Thief?
I have a level 80 Thief. I've been mostly using it with double pistols because that's a really easy build to not
double
think
pistols
about.
is what I run on my Thief.
I run double pistols on the staff build on the offset in case I really, really don't want to be in melee.
Yeah, same.
But I've been having a lot of fun with double dagger on a Condi build.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
And the off weapon for that build is short bow in case I want my enemies to not do anything ever. Because that has an AoE that dazes. It's broken and degenerate and I love it.
I've been running a lot of I may be the only person who likes Thief Rifle, but it's so fun. But it's that you like 5-digit numbers.
I was going to say, as somebody who has played some World v. World, that is not an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
I should take my Thief into World v. World.
I've seen the terrible things that Deadeyes can do in World v. World.
Deadeyes are awful in World v. World.
They are unkillable. If you try to kill a Deadeye, you will end up dead. Like,
it's not even that. Like, they're the kings of sitting on the ramparts and just shredding your incoming force.
They have replaced rangers in this role.
Yeah.
I play a Mirage. It's very, very funny fighting a Deadeye because they get a big hit. Can they get
so that's a 1 in 4 chance that it's actually you?
Yeah, it's a 1 in 4 chance that it's the right big hit.
I like rifle a lot on Warrior, mostly because rifle seems like the correct ranged option if you're going power build. And
it is.
And longbow seems the correct answer if you're going Condi.
So much fire from the longbow warrior. I love it.
It's very good.
But like, if you're doing Path of Fire's content, I really want to be able to at least back out to range for a while.
If you're in melee and you find yourself in trouble, that's why you hit them when you hit them with your head.
Apparently, Mistlock is the new Dalaran because there's several of us just running around in here.
I was running around elsewhere a minute ago, but I need to get this thing.
It's the place to be.
Anyway, we have gone over time.
We've been missing talking about this stuff.
I have legitimately missed this because 3 weeks is kind of long.
This is very
It really is.
Any final thoughts?
Oh,
Even Digital, now that it's at 1.0, is way more functional than it previously was.
Yes.
the Archie-thon is going on right now if you want to watch something hilarious.
Watch Celeste speedrunners play games that aren't Celeste.
Yup.
Oh.
It turns out Celeste is kind of a speedrunner's game. So a lot of people who
Gasp.
speedrun Celeste are people who started speedrunning not Celeste.
Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the show, and we will see you again next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See ya.